Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Bowlers Gazette. On tonight's show, we are starting a special feature which will be on from time to time, and that is the Bowlers Spotlight. And spotlighted on tonight's show is Betty Ganter. She's the manager from Silverside Lanes. She's been in bowling for a number of years. Now, in the past few weeks, we've had Rita Justice on, who has, of course, bowled a 300 game. 3 weeks ago, we had Tootie Dempsey on, who has also bowled a 300 game. Tonight, we have on Betty Ganter, who is the only female in the state of Delaware to roll 2 300 games. Betty, welcome to the Bowlers Gazette.
Thank you, Gary, for asking me.
How did it feel for the first 300 game? Were you excited or nervous?
Not too much. A little bit. But it was the greatest feeling. I always wanted to do it. I think every bowler wants to do one. And I just was really happy to finally have done what everybody always wants to do, bowl 300.
On your second 300, which was just about a month ago now.
Yes. Yeah, the second one was 5 days shy of the first one.
That is really exceptional. Were you as nervous or excited on your second one as you were your first?
I think I was more nervous on the second one.
More nervous? Why
Yes.
is that?
Well, I think once you know it can happen and you think it's going to happen again, I was more nervous. Yeah.
Betty, I'm going to put you on the spot. How many years have you been bowling?
My goodness, let's see. Boys are, I guess, somewhere in the area of 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
Where did you start bowling at?
At the Grady's at 8th and Orange.
Grady's.
Yes.
What league were you in? Your first league? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was a summer league.
It was a summer
and I
league.
just
Got on it from there?
Yeah. And then I was asked to bowl in the ladies' leagues and just went on from there. Yeah.
Do you remember what kind of average you carried when you were first starting?
I think the first average I ever carried was somewhere around 138.
138.
Yeah.
And what has been your highest average for the end of the season?
203.
203. You hear that now, bowlers? That just goes to show you get out there, you practice, you learn the game, and you can become a decent bowler. Well, now, with Silverside Lanes, how long have you been with Silverside and Fairfax? How long have you been manager?
Well, let's see. I guess 7, let's say 5 down there, 2 up here, somewhere in the area of 7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
Do you find yourself doing as much bowling being a manager as you did back when you were just a regular bowler?
No, not at all. I hardly bowl at all anymore. Years ago, when I was really into the bowling end of it, the actual bowling end of it, I bowled Monday night at Parkway Lanes when they were in business, Tuesday night at the La Martinique in New Jersey, Wednesday night at the Boulevard Lanes in Philadelphia, and Friday nights at Fairfax. So I would say I did a lot more bowling than I'm doing right now, and in the afternoons I used to go out and practice a little bit. And so I would say bowling 2 nights a week now is about all I can manage to get in. Because I am on call a lot at the center, being the manager, and so it's not always easy to try to go someplace else or plan things, you know, when you are always on call. So
I think a lot of managers who were bowlers are also in the same situation. They just don't bowl as much as they did when they were just a normal average bowler. Don't travel as much either.
No.
Sounds like you did a lot of traveling.
Well, I did, but you have so many other things to do at the center, in the manager part of it, that you just don't have time to do the bowling. And when you do, you kind of maybe want to take a breather somewhere else, you know, just even home, resting up a little bit.
Do you have any other activities that you're involved in other than bowling?
No, never have. Bowling seems to have been almost my whole life.
That's been it.
Yeah.
What has been your high series? I know you had a 700
Yeah,
way back.
756. That's the highest. It's tied with Faith Bland
And
for
when
the
was that
state
rolled?
record. That was rolled in at Parkway. I don't remember the year, but it was at Parkway when I was bowling there.
That was back when the lanes were a little bit more difficult than they are today.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I just think that I think the lanes today are every bit as difficult as they were then. I think it's just a matter of adjusting to different conditions in different times. That's all. I mean,
Yeah, well, I think the bowlers may have a slight advantage today
well,
over the past because you have the different type bowling balls now. Where back, I know when I first started bowling, you had a ball and it was normally a black ball and it was a rubber ball and that was what you bowled with. It was like a Model T Ford, any color you wanted as long as it was black.
right.
And now they have soft shells and hard shells and all the weights and all that type of thing. So maybe the bowlers have a little bit more of an advantage today than they did, say, back when you bowled your 750 series.
That I would agree with you with. I thought you were speaking of lanes and things like that. And I agree with you on the pins. The pin we're using today, the Amflite from AMF, is the highest scoring pin that's ever been made. And the bowling balls, like you say, there's a bowling ball for every condition around.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally it's
Everybody has a double ball bag now.
That's right. So naturally it is going to increase your score and make it a little easier, yes. I agree with you.
You've bowled in a number of tournaments over the years. Which ones have you won? I know you've participated in quite a few all-star tournaments and various tournaments of that sort.
Well, I've won quite a few of the all-star tournaments. I think together Rita and I have probably equaled. She's won half of them, I won half of them, and when we didn't win, we always managed to get there anyway. Locally, I've won some doubles for the WIBC and things like that. I've never really participated in the professionals because I just never had the money at the time I was able to go. Now that I might be able to get the money, I don't have the time. So it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, this is a question a number of the bowlers have asked. Various bowlers in the Delaware area who have carried good averages over the years as to why they never went out on the tour. And I think that is one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
Either the money wasn't there when the time was, or the time wasn't there when the money was available.
That's right.
But if you're willing to take the risk, and you have the time, and you have the money, and if you think you're a good enough bowler, there's no reason why you can't go out and give it a shot. We've had a number of bowlers in the last year or two that have gone out and tried, and some of them have met with various degrees of success.
Right.
I know Jimmy Johnson went to Texas and did quite well. And Buddy Lovell, who's carrying the highest average in Wilmington right now, has gone out and bowled in the college nationals and came in second. And I don't know if he's on the pro tour, whether he has his card or not, but if he doesn't, I think somebody ought to give him a little bit of push in that direction.
I do believe that he's going out in January.
He is going out?
Yes. Mm-hmm. He's going to give it a try. But there again, as I said, you can't just go out there and expect to do good right away. It's an altogether different field of bowlers you're bowling against. And you just have to keep staying there and bowling, because it's another step up like the professional in every sport. And you just have to keep staying there, and it's very expensive. And you have to have someone, if you don't have the money yourself, to help you out. And until you can find someone to do that and stay out there for a year, maybe even more, eventually, if you're good enough, you'll come through and get it all back.
But you really have to persevere with it.
That's right. Nothing comes overnight.
I was talking to Connie Bailey just a little while ago on the phone, and the city junior team event is at Silverside
Yes.
this coming weekend. So if any people out there would like to come watch some good bowling, I'm sure there'll be a lot there. And she was telling me that this is by far the greatest turnout that they have ever had in the junior team
Yes,
event. They
they
have
have.
83
Right.
teams,
Mm-hmm.
and the highest record before that was 69.
Right.
And actually, from the records that they have, they're about 400 to 500 bowlers short, membership-wise, than they were last year.
Right.
And I know two of the houses are really down as far as putting teams in the tournament, which is
Right.
really a shame for the kids in those two houses.
Right.
But I think it's a great showing, and I think the kids are really excited about going to Silverside. They've seen the scores in the papers and the averages, and they say, hot dog, I want to get up there.
Right.
Now, last year, the city tournament was at Brookside, and if I'm not mistaken, they broke just about every scoring record that was on the books. And I know a lot of those kids are gearing up for next week. They want to try to break some of those records. Do you think they're going to have a chance at it?
Oh, I certainly do. I think Silverside is a good scoring house. In fact, a great scoring house. And I attribute it a lot to our, the way we take care of the place. I think also being new, those pin decks, the pinfall is beautiful up there. I think it's the greatest I've ever seen around.
There's a lot
And
of action. I was
there
up
really
there
is.
this weekend, and the pins really fly.
And I think the kids are going to break the records. I hope they do anyway.
Well, there you have a spotlight on one of the local bowlers in the Wilmington area. And we'll be right back with more of the Bowlers Gazette after this short break.